how should the Lakers best help themselves at the deadline?
Okay. Yeah, obviously, LeBron wants them to make a trade to help the team. He might as well tattoo it on his forehead. Okay, that's clear. All right. So when you look at the Lakers, let's just talk about some truths. They are over the last 15 games, and they did just have a very good 6-game road trip. I was looking at this trip going, man, this could be 2-4, 1-5 if it's a disaster, especially since LeBron and AD were a little banged up. They go 4-2. Awesome. Great. They come back above 500 in a better position when they left. Terrific. You look at the last 15 games. They're in the bottom 10 in defense in the league. And that is with some good defensive performances at the end of this trip. That's just not getting it done. You also look at their three-point shooting. They're 28th in the league in three-pointers per game. They have shot a better percentage as the season's gone along. But, Molly, they enter every game basically knowing they're going to get outscored on the three-point line. So you don't need to have Jerry West running your team or Red Auerbach running your team to say that they need defensive help and they need three-point shooting. And especially since Jared Vanderbilt, who's one of their best perimeter defenders, suffered a foot injury on this trip that could knock him out for a long period of time, if not for the rest of the regular season. So that's what they need. They need a guy who can maybe defend and shoot on the perimeter. By the way, half of the NBA is looking for that type of player. Now, we know that. What do they have to do to get that player? They have one first-round pick that they can trade in 2029. LeBron will be retired, I think. AD past his prime. They got to be real careful giving away that pick unprotected. They'll give it away, but they got to be real careful. The other thing is they have Austin Reeves. They don't want to give him away. They got him in the starting lineup with D'Angelo Russell. It's working right now. They don't want to do that. So that's what they got. They got that first-round pick, and they got this need, and they got competition with scarce players available. The recipe isn't right for that to lead to a really impactful deal by Thursday. Not impossible, but the recipe isn't right, especially when, one, they don't know whether LeBron is going to pick up his option. I think he will, and I don't think that's like keeping them up at night, but they don't know that. And two, if they do wait until June, they would have 3 first-round picks to trade, a better idea of what happened with this team, and a better idea in a potentially deeper market. And so that's the table, Molly. If you can figure out how to do that, give LeBron a call.
You know, you know what? The Lakers, when you have Anthony Davis and LeBron James, you're built on what? Championships. Every single season you go into the season is all about championships. It's nothing more, nothing less. It's no in between. It's no, oh, we made a great playoff run. It's all about championships. That's all what LeBron James is about. So when you see LeBron body language or you see his social media and you see the signals, right? And it's obvious that he wants them to make a move, and I understand that. But what move is it out there that's going to actually take the Lakers over the hump, right? I hear a lot of speculations about DeJounte Murray. I think DeJounte Murray is a hell of a player. I don't think he moves the needle enough for the Lakers in the Western Conference to get them past the likes of a Denver Nuggets, a Los Angeles Clippers, or even the Minnesota Timberwolves, who I believe they haven't beaten once this season. So when I think about the Lakers, and I understand Bron, he wants to move the goalpost, he wants to move the needle, he wants to make a move, but I think everybody need to keep a cool booty. I think everybody need to keep a cool booty. Because let me say this, the way that Anthony Davis has been playing of late, that's the person that's going to take them to wherever they need to go. We saw it last season in the second half of the season. AD was arguably the best player in the season. Right now, AD should be at the tops of Defensive Player of the Year. That performance he put on in Madison Square Garden was something special, a defensive clinic. Last night, he got a triple-double, doing it at all phases. This is the healthiest we have seen them. So I'm looking around the league, unless you maybe could, swap and do some things and bring back a Alex Caruso, a dog on the perimeter, I think the Lakers got to stand pat because D'Angelo Russell has been balling, let's be honest. And I was actually the one saying, hey, they need to package him up and send him somewhere, but he's proven me wrong over the last, 10 to 15 games.
By the way, guys, NBA trade deadline is 3 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. I know you two will be a part of it. NBA Today will have you covered. They're going to have a special 1 p.m. Eastern ahead of the trade deadline on Thursday, Malika and the crew. So Set your DVRs for that. If people still set their DVRs, I might be dating myself right now. I have YouTube TV. All right, you mentioned the Clippers. I got a quick take for you, Perk. There is another team in LA that's thriving, and that would be those Clippers. They've won 9 of their last 10 games after beating the Hawks and are 26-5 since December 1st. Perk, tell me this: the best team in the West right now.
They're the best team in the league, Molly. When you look at them, they have the best depth in the league. They're stacked at the center position. They're stacked at the wing position. When you think about Kawhi, Paul George, Coffey, Terrence, Trey Mann. When you look at all those guys, they are stacked. And also James Harden, that leadership at the point guard position has been spectacular. They have one of the best coaches in the game. And let me say this. When it comes down to the most important player that's going to take you over the top in the league, it's Kawhi Leonard right now. I mean, I'm picking him any day of the week over anybody else in the league when it comes down to him matching up in a 7-game series. He looks healthy on both ends of the floor. He's playing at an MVP type level. This team is clicking on all cylinders, and let me be the first to apologize, because I was one of the ones that was crucifying them. But damn it, this team looks unbeatable in the 7-game series. You know what? I feel so bad, Molly, for Klay Thompson, right? Because in the world, people want to call him washed, and people want to say he's done, he has nothing left in the tank. I honestly don't believe that. And for the life of me, I don't understand why the Warriors won't stop the bleeding. Trade Klay Thompson. Steve Kerr has done nothing wrong, right? He has done an excellent job for us with his in-game adjustments. Finally, putting a microscope on Jonathan Kuminga. Him and Steph Curry arguably has been one of the top duos in the league scoring-wise. But when you think about Klay, right, I don't think that he's done. I think he's mentally not there. And it's been that way before the season even started, when they was negotiating and trying to come with a contract extension, and the Warriors made an offer and Klay didn't accept it. Because what Klay saw was, he saw Draymond Green get 100+. He saw Andrew Wiggins get 100+. He saw Jordan Poole when he was there get 100+. And so now Klay Thompson it's all in his head. And when you're not there psychologically and mentally, you're not going to perform at your best. And for the life of me, I don't understand why the Warriors are so afraid to move on. I know it's not an easy task, but Klay Thompson need a change of scenery for the best of him. His contract ends this season. This is probably going to be his last opportunity to get his big bag. It is a business. Do right by him and send him to another destination so he can have the best opportunity to maximize on his money.
Wendy, yeah, you go ahead.
They're not trading Klay Thompson. I mean, they can't trade Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson's going to have a statue outside the Chase Center someday. You can't trade Klay Thompson. Now, what they can sign him to, that's a different story, because he is not a $45 million player anymore. He is a very valuable player. He still shoots, even though this year he's not having a good shooting year at all, he still shoots better than average. But you can see in that interview, Molly, he's in anguish right now. And I'm going to talk about Mr. Perkins, because when Kendrick was 33 years old, Perk, I know you remember this well because it's one of the most impressive things you did in your career. When you were the same age as Klay Thompson, do you remember where you were? You were in the G League. You were a guy who was a starter on multiple finals teams, made very good money, highly respected, won a championship, and you were at a point in your career where you're like, the best thing for me right now to go forward is to be in the G League. And I'm not saying Klay's in the G League. What I'm saying is that players get to the point in their careers where they're past their primes and they have to wrestle with how they can go forward. And that's what we're watching Klay do in real time. This happens with virtually every athlete. And he's happening in real time. And we're seeing it, and he's emoting and reacting in real time. And that's not something we normally get, but something that everybody does. You know what, Perk? You went to the G League. You got back into the NBA. You got back and you played a role in the NBA after that. Klay Thompson absolutely can play a role going forward, and he can play that role with the Warriors. It's just happening at a time where the entire franchise is grappling with basically the same thing. Now, I think he will remain a Warrior. I think that they will work out a contract. And you're right about Draymond Green and about Andrew Wiggins getting contracts. The thing that happened on those deals is they both took pay cuts. And Klay obviously is going to take a pay cut too. And it's a difficult time for the whole organization. But I still think Klay believes in himself. I still think the Warriors believe in Klay. It's just going to be a little bit different at age 33, 34, 35 than it was when he was in his late 20s.
Yeah, and Wendy, I'm glad you shared that story because the G League was the best thing, Molly, that ever happened to me in my NBA career. One of the most humbling things I ever went through, right? But at the end of the day, I just still don't believe that Klay Thompson is done. I still think Klay Thompson has a lot left in the tank. I strongly believe that Klay Thompson is still a third option on the championship contender. I just feel like he needs a change of scenery. New life for a basketball player brings so much. An organization that still believes in you. Right now, I don't see that same belief because if it was there, then Steve Kerr would have him in the crunch time, right? But it's not there. The chemistry is not there for us with Klay and the team, and that's okay, right? The worst thing in the world that could happen, Wendy and Molly, is that it could end up on bad terms, a bad breakup, right?
Yep.
Say Klay leave in the offseason. I done seen it happen so many times, especially with the Boston Celtics and Ray Allen, right? I saw Ray Allen leave and go to Miami, right? When Boston actually offered him more money to stay. But remember that transition. Doc Rivers had made him start coming in off the bench as a six-man guy. Then all of a sudden, Ray went to Miami. He still played a similar role, but a bigger role, and won another championship. But I'm saying to y'all is that in the basketball space, it's supposed to be your sanctuary. When your mind is cluttered, you're not going to perform at your best.
That's
Absolutely. You can
very
only compartmentalize so much. Sorry,
sorry,
Wendy, I
Molly.
didn't mean to step on you. And I love you guys sharing that G League story because I think a lot of us can learn a lot from that perk. Obviously, sometimes hitting rock bottom in the moment doesn't seem so great, but it ends up being the best thing. Wendy, tell me this. What can the Warriors do to turn the season around at the deadline? We've been talking about it all morning, 3 p.m. Eastern on Thursday.
Well, this is something they've been working on for a while, Molly, trying to figure this out. First thing they can do, and they were already doing, is they're playing Jonathan Kuminga more minutes. He's playing about 8 or 10 more minutes now in the last 10 games than he was before. And he's producing at a higher level. So they're making sort of a shift to being more Kuminga focused, even though his style of play is a lot different from the classic Warriors style of play. He's not a higher volume three-point shooter, etc. But in terms of what they can do by Thursday, I really do not believe they will trade Chris Paul for 3 or 4 different reasons. I believe that, I'm not saying they won't have phone calls on that. I don't think that's going to happen.